The mysterious world of Hermeticism lays bare its secrets, beginning with the cornerstone of wisdom known as the principle of mentalism, the first of the 7 Hermetic laws. This law states, everything is mind, the universe is mental. At first glance, this statement may seem simple, but in its depths lies a whole universe of meanings and revelations. What does the statement that everything is mind really mean? How do we realize that the universe is ultimately a mental construct and that our experiences are merely reflections of our thoughts? A journey to the origins of this principle, to understanding its true power and its reflection in modern physics, lies ahead. The principle of mentalism is not just the key to the other 6 pillars of Hermetic philosophy. It reveals a secret that can fundamentally change the perception of the universe and interaction with it. By affirming that all is mind, we enter the territory of the mystery where the universe, all that exists, past, present, and future, appears as a manifestation of universal mind, like the dream of Vishnu in the Hindu tradition. Every human being is an integral part of this grand manifestation. Studying the depths of this principle promises to be a revelation, because understanding the first law opens the door to understanding the mysteries of the spirit. Ahead is the unraveling of one of the greatest mysteries of the universe, which can forever change the idea of reality and its place in it. First of all, it is necessary to penetrate into the essence of the concept of mentalism. In Kybalion, the fundamental work on Hermeticism, it is stated that the reality we are accustomed to, perceived as something physical and material, in reality is not such. On the contrary, it is a mental structure generated by the universal mind called all. Imagine that every object accessible to sight, touch, and other senses is nothing but a fragment of a grandiose mental projection, a kind of universal dream, which involuntarily evokes associations with the famous Matrix. The universe, which seems to us so tangible and immutable, is in fact a very complex construction born by consciousness. Ancient Hermeticists taught that there is an inseparable connection between the mind of each person and this all-encompassing universal mind. In other words, we are only small sparks of the mind of the all. In moments of reflection, creativity, and visualization, we harness the power of the mind, which is ultimately an integral part of universal consciousness. However, this profound thought naturally begs the question, if we are indeed sparks of the all, why do we feel so far removed from universal mind? What is it that obscures us from realizing this universal interconnectedness in our fast-paced everyday life? The answer lies in the depths of another Hermetic truth. The human mind, constrained by personal experience, influenced by external circumstances, and limited by subjective perception, is captivated by the mirage of separateness. This idea is reflected in various spiritual and philosophical teachings that permeate human culture. Siddhartha Gautama, known as the Buddha, proclaimed that our being is shaped by our thoughts, claiming that the mind is all we have. This statement resonates directly with the Hermetic principle of mentalism. These days, the scientific community is beginning its journey to comprehend the depths of the mind and its tremendous impact on the reality around us. Max Planck, a prominent physicist who is considered the father of quantum physics, expressed this idea as follows. I regard consciousness as something fundamental and matter as derived from consciousness. The principle of mentalism finds a surprising confirmation in the famous experiment with 2 slits, first conducted by physicist Thomas Young in the early 19th century and reinterpreted with the development of quantum science. The essence of this experiment is quite simple. An elementary particle, for example, an electron, is directed to a barrier with 2 slits. On the other side of the protective field is a screen that records the traces of collision of particles, and at this point, researchers are faced with the inexplicable. When scientists try to predict the trajectory of the elementary particle, a paradoxical situation arises. In the absence of an observer, the electron demonstrates wave properties, simultaneously passing through both slits and forming an interference pattern reminiscent of circles on the water from a thrown stone. However, as soon as an observation mechanism is introduced that allows to fix through which slit the particle flies, the electron changes its behavior, manifesting itself as a corpuscule. It selects only one of the slits, thus destroying the interference pattern and forming an image indicating the presence of a clear trajectory. This phenomenon clearly demonstrates that in the microcosm, the very act of observation influences reality. The observer appears to interfere with the fundamental nature of the particle, forcing it to choose a particular state. This phenomenon goes beyond the classical materialistic worldview and opens new horizons for a deeper understanding of the relationship between consciousness and the surrounding reality. The experiment with two slits convincingly proves that observation, focused consciousness, has the ability to determine the state of matter. This is the profound wisdom contained in the first Hermetic law. The reality around us is not something frozen and unchanging, but rather a malleable substance, responsive to the conscious influence of the mind, which is able to observe, interact, and create. This is what Hermes Trismegistus pointed out many millennia ago. Let us imagine the human mind as a boundless ocean, where every thought, every directed observation is like a stone thrown into the water surface. This stone generates circles on the water, diverging in all directions and influencing everything around. When one concentrates one's attention on something, it is as if one throws the stone, initiating movement, transforming potentiality into actual manifestation, just as an electron, the eternal candidate for a wave, suddenly decides to become a particle. This is the mental power of which the Hermetic principle speaks. The first Hermetic law opens our eyes to the fact that the mind is the very key that unlocks the gate to creation. But what happens when this powerful force of reason, our deepest and most creative capacity, begins to dissipate and weaken? We live in an age where human attention has become the most sought-after resource, and our energy that was once focused on conscious creation is now being manipulated and ruthlessly absorbed. In today's world, where humanity has the ability to shape the reality around us through concentration, attention management has become a powerful tool. A plethora of distractions such as social media, incessant notifications, intrusive advertising, and an endless stream of information steal mental energy imperceptibly. This fragmentation of the mind distances people from their creative potential, turning them from creators into passive observers. Scientific studies confirm that information overload and constant stimulation negatively affect the ability to concentrate and retain information in memory for long periods of time, weakening the focus of attention. The mind loses its sharpness and clarity, much like a blade that becomes dull from constant use. As a result, the average attention span of a modern human has fallen to a level comparable to that of an aquarium fish. In Hermetic teachings, attention is considered as a key tool for creation, emphasizing its importance in shaping reality. Just as a focused beam of a magnifying glass is able to ignite an object, so too concentrated attention allows one to direct energy toward achieving the desired, intensifying its manifestation in reality. However, scattered focus is like a weak, ineffective light, depriving a person of the opportunity to actively shape his destiny and turning him into a passive spectator, absorbed in the flow of superficial impressions. It is worth noting that modern distractions have an imperceptible but profound effect on the subconscious mind. Any visual or auditory information, even seemingly insignificant, leaves its imprint in the mind. In the depths of the unconscious, this information accumulates to form beliefs, fears, and behavioral patterns that are known to have a significant impact on shaping reality. Without critically analyzing the incoming information, the individual allows external forces to program his beliefs and values. Instead of developing ideas consistent with his true nature, he allows other people's ideas about reality to be imposed on him. As the philosopher Aldous Huxley astutely observed, distraction is one of the most effective means of controlling people, and his words have unfortunately proved prophetic. A person whose thoughts are distracted and whose beliefs are formed unconsciously is deprived of the ability to actively shape the reality around him. The main condition for regaining control over one's life is to curb one's own mind, and in this context, meditation appears as one of the most effective tools. It is meditative practice that allows you to regain control over the flow of thoughts. The first of the Hermetic laws states that the mind is the very matrix from which all things arise. However, the mind, being in a state of constant movement, subject to the influence of external factors, loses its ability to concentration and purposeful action. Meditation, on the other hand, is a way of gathering attention and directing it like a lens, focusing light into a single point until a flame is ignited. In the Hermetic tradition, meditation is seen as a return to the starting point, to the space where nothing and everything coexist simultaneously. This state opens the gateway to our creative power, for only in a state of stillness and total presence does the mind find the necessary balance to become a true instrument for conscious creation. Meditative practice appears as a kind of gymnastics for the mind, purposefully strengthening its ability to concentrate. In moments of solitude and silence, when attention is focused on the breath or the inner reference point, there is a gradual breaking of the habitual cycle of distraction so characteristic of modern life. One learns to stay in the present moment, remaining unperturbed and detached from external stimuli. Every time an intrusive thought arises and is consciously put aside, the individual regains lost power over his or her own mind. An analogy can be drawn with muscle training. Just as regular exercise strengthens muscles, systematic meditation develops the mind's capacity for focus, resilience, and resistance to external distractions. This helps to unleash creativity and liberation from the shackles of the outside world. In addition to strengthening control over the mind, meditation is one of the most effective ways to penetrate into the depths of the subconscious. It is this area of the psyche that largely determines what we translate into reality. So, if a person seeks to transform the reality around him, he needs to penetrate into the innermost corners of the subconscious mind and neutralize beliefs, fears, and shocks that prevent the discovery of his creative potential. In the process of meditative practice, a state of deep relaxation is achieved, providing a connection with subconscious processes. In moments of stillness, long-standing emotions and behavioral patterns that require awareness and final overcoming come to the surface. This process is fundamental to the harmonization of the conscious and subconscious, turning the latter into an ally in the creation of the desired reality. By clearing the depths of the subconscious mind, the individual removes the obstacles that unconsciously undermine his or her efforts, freeing up space for clarity of thought and focus on goals and creative endeavors. At the heart of these tenets is the realization that the world around us, in all its diversity and subtleties, is nothing more than a projection of the human mind. But what happens when much of this creation comes from an uncharted, understudied realm within us? The subconscious mind is a vast ocean, a repository of thoughts and beliefs that often go unheeded, but paradoxically have a profound impact on our perceptions and consequently on the reality we shape. The subconscious mind represents the innermost level of the human mind, functioning beyond rational thought and linear logic, operating with symbols, personal memories, and a wide range of emotions. It is in this deepest area that the origins of our life experiences, unique perceptions of the world, and fundamental beliefs that form our overall worldview are rooted. We can think of the subconscious mind as a constantly running video camera that records every moment of life, every emotion experienced, every word heard, and every image seen, beginning in the earliest years. This continuous recording process goes far beyond conscious perception because it involves emotional interpretation of what is happening. The subconscious mind records fears, joys, doubts, and insecurities, forming an individualized emotional map of the world. Every memory and emotion imprinted in the subconscious mind eventually forms invisible patterns that influence perceptions of the world, interpersonal relationships, and even perceptions of opportunities for success and self-actualization. If the subconscious mind is the architect of our subjective reality, it is critical to understand how it directly influences our life experience. Limiting beliefs are deeply rooted subconscious ideas that create barriers and limitations to what we believe is possible or achievable. These beliefs, often unrecognized, can significantly limit a person's potential and hinder their development. Let's imagine a person who is deeply convinced, even if only subconsciously, of his own inability to be loved. Like a magnet, he repels those who sincerely seek his heart, unknowingly destroying the budding relationship. These self-limiting beliefs act like hidden programs that firmly bind us to destructive behaviors and repetitive life scripts, preventing our minds from realizing our true desires. They function as peculiar filters that distort our perception of reality and create an illusory mirror that reflects not our dreams, but our subconscious ideas about what is possible. This mirror mercilessly shows the contents of our subconscious, exposing our hidden fears and illusions. Recognizing the influence of the subconscious mind in shaping our reality opens the way to purposeful reprogramming. This process requires persistence and consistency, as the subconscious mind is like fertile soil that needs careful cultivation and care. Positive affirmations, vivid visualizations, and meditative practices help to eradicate deep-seated beliefs and replace limiting patterns with a new, inspiring self-image. In the pursuit of prosperity and well-being, one must discover and eradicate limiting attitudes such as "I am not worthy" or "the world has limited resources." Then, using the power of positive affirmations and visualizations, new beliefs should be planted, such as "I deserve abundance" and "the universe is generous and full of opportunity." Over time, through persistence and emotional engagement, the subconscious mind realigns itself and begins to manifest these new attitudes into reality. Emotions act as a catalyst, amplifying the impact of beliefs and experiences, shaping reality with tremendous creative power. Deep feelings become powerful signals to the subconscious mind, which seeks to reproduce the corresponding experiences in life. For example, to develop self-confidence, it is recommended to visualize situations in which one acts boldly and decisively. It is important to feel how confidence fills the body, as if it were already a reality. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between the real and the imagined, so it begins to accept this new emotional impression as part of its programming, reflecting it in behavior and interaction with the world. Through the painstaking process of reprogramming thinking, deep self-knowledge, and cultivating sublime feelings, humanity is able to unlock the limitless potential of its subconscious mind. This inner transformation transforms the subconscious realm from a territory of dark shadows and self-imposed limitations into a powerful and creative ally, ready to guide us toward the realization of our highest purpose in life. The first Hermetic law, the cornerstone of ancient wisdom, reveals a fundamental truth. Each of us is an active co-creator of our reality. Our mind appears as a sacred temple, and everything we create within these mental walls is inevitably reflected and manifested in the external world. When we carelessly allow our attention to be scattered and distracted by fleeting things, we essentially abandon our role as masters of this inner temple and become its servants, obediently following someone else's will. However, by deliberately cultivating sustained attention, practicing meditation regularly, and daring to delve into the depths of our subconscious, we can take back the reins of the creation process. We gain the ability to consciously choose which seeds to allow to germinate and flourish in our inner garden, and as a result, to transform the garden of the universe around us. Thank you for your attention.